All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our next episode of Whistle Talk. Here we go again, trying another live episode tonight. So, for those that are out there, hopefully on YouTube, you're able to pick us up live tonight. But got a little bit of a different kind of show tonight. So, first time bringing in a group, so trying to bring in a full crew here tonight. We were able to get 4 out of the 6 members here in New Jersey. Again, our crews here are typically 6-person crews, but tonight I'm lucky enough to have with us Mr. Steve Citro, the head referee out of the Central Jersey Chapter, Christopher Muriello, and we got Anthony Molinaro. Got all the Italians here tonight so far, and we got Kennedy McFadden joining us. So, guys and gals, thank you very much for taking your time out tonight and jumping on here tonight. How's everyone doing?
Good. Thanks for having us, mate.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, just taking a look over here. All right, we do got our podcast is going live right now. So, again, something different tonight. I wanted to bring on a crew. And I know how my crew works, so that's why I wanted to kind of reach out to a different group from across the state. So we're kind of mechanically the same, but the crux of why I asked you guys all to come on tonight is I want to start talking about communication between crews and how important it is for us. And I picked it up from somebody else, but I refer to it a lot. Us being the third team out on the field, and how that all plays a part in becoming a third team. But before we dive into the whole communication thing, let's go around the table and allow each person to introduce themselves. So, Steve, you're our head referee, so we could start off with you, if you don't mind.
Sure. Again, thanks for having us, Mike. So I am the referee coaching with these other 3 competitions with me tonight. We've been together this is only our second year. And we started up last year. We had a solid first season, trying to build upon it. And one of those things is we're constantly working on our communication. And I'm sure we're going to dive into that as we go along here tonight.
Absolutely. All right, Chris, how about you?
How you doing? Thank you for having us again. So I am actually a hybrid official this year. I'm on the line as well as deep. It changes week to week. So it's definitely been exciting. And yeah, we're happy to be here. Happy to have this conversation.
Cool. Thank you again. And Kennedy, the young old person I was told in pre-production. How you doing tonight?
Hello, I'm good. Thank you for having us. I've been officiating for 3 years now. I am the side judge on my crew, and I'm looking forward to joining this podcast today. Thank you again.
All right, and last but not least, a fellow after my own heart here, another fellow umpire, Anthony. How are you doing?
Having me. Again, I'm with Kennedy. We went to the cadet program together, so again, this is my 3rd year as well, and I man the middle.
Very nice, very nice. And it's not for the faint of heart, as we're finding out.
You can ask him about the nice shot he took a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah,
I
you got
him some pads, a helmet and some pads for the next game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been getting hit a lot this year, Mike. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, I had myself backpedaling this past weekend, and then a kid complaining about being held, and I'm like, son, I have no idea what you did there, because I was about 17 yards in the backfield at that point in time, just trying to save my butt. So,
well, first time in 3 years I actually got knocked down. So.
Oh yeah.
I did a junior varsity today, and I was actually the umpire, and I do not like it at all. I got hit twice, actually. I'm not too good at moving out of the way just yet. I need more training.
Well, listen, have you ever played basketball?
Yeah, I did growing up.
I can set a hell of a pick, so I tend to find myself moving around and setting up in different spots for that purpose, so that because I coached for 20 years, and when I knew that umpire was staying 7 yards into the right side, I had my kid running a 6.5-yard route off of him. So I try to move around and take different spots for that purpose. So yeah, it takes a little bit of time.
And that's why we're white hand stay for it.
Yeah, but your game's boring back there.
True.
So one of the main reasons that I asked again that I asked everybody to come on tonight, I wanted to talk about our communication as officials between not only us but our communication with the players, the communication. Kennedy, you being on the sideline, you're getting the earful from the coaches and the communication that we're having with the coaches. So, what are some tips that you guys have for just the overall communication between you guys as a crew? Like, how did you all come together that you blend together so well?
Yeah, so it all started, like I said, a couple of years ago, and we start in the off season. We get together, we hang out, we talk. Basically, communication to get to know one another, right? So we learned, I should say the core parts of what my expectations are, but they've also learned what to say, when to say it. So it's also all a feel of how you operate within your crew, and it's constantly evolving. But outside of get-togethers in the off season, these guys make a running joke every week about my pregame email, but I do a pretty extensive pregame email. And at the very top on every one, highlighted is please read this in its entirety. And if somebody misses something, you read it in its entirety. So we have a little fun with it, but it starts there. You know, pregame topics, when to align, where to park, that's all communicated. I get the information from AD really to the crew. And you know, if they don't respond with a confirmed email, I get it. Busy. Like if they get an email, they're going to show up to the game. So game week starts right there today on Monday. Pre-game email. So that's step one for us.
All right,
We already got our
Anthony.
pre-game email for this week. It's already been in the inbox for a little bit now.
But does that inbox now have it as being unread or read?
It's
So
read. We are confirmed, and see you on
okay,
Thursday this week.
yeah, I got a game Thursday night myself this week.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
so
I can confirm all but one have read my email to this one. At least acknowledge that they've received it. So
I received it and read it in its entirety. That was noted.
there you go. Okay.
that was nice of you, Steve. Not calling anybody out on that one.
Now that person's actually not on the call, so we're good.
So Anthony, I'm going to refer now to the umpire because you and I tend to have the most communication in game with the referee. And you being now in third year, have you always been an umpire since you started? No. And now, what specific things are you and you and Steve going over pregame, during the game that you guys are communicating with each other? Like I know how I am with my head official, and we took some time to get to know each other a little bit differently than when I used to be a short wing to start off, and then I moved to the middle. What are some things that you and Steve have been able to kind of put together so that you guys know that you're on the same page?
Well, basically, in the beginning, for my pregame stuff, I usually get some kind of penalty enforcement stuff. So I usually go over my penalty enforcement with them, how I'm going to do it with my head linesman, and then before the game, we meet with the coaches. We go over everything that it concerns me and him. Make sure that we got a coin for the coin toss, and then we just have a meeting between us to go over, how we're going to count, how we're going to communicate on the radio, what he's looking for me to say, what I'm looking for him to say for the foul and the reporting of fouls, because all the fouls have to obviously go through the umpire because we have to do the enforcement.
Yep.
So it's just basically stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
we're at the point now, like where most of our communication is nonverbal, right? So at the timing of the count, the up and down. The two things we fear most in that pregame conference is hearing bubble huddle, right? So we learned how to communicate on those. And okay, are we in scrimmage information? Do we have the right numbers? Anthony does a nice job pre-snap. Our snapper's not 50 to 79. I'll know it all. Snapper's number 85. This way, if something happens, 85 can't catch that pass, right?
yep.
So it's a very, a nuance that we figured out in the last year and a half so far, but we've got it down to a pretty good point. And just, like I said, hopefully we don't hear that third bubble huddle at all in our pre games. I think already, and we're good to go.
Yeah, we're seeing it down here in a couple of regular down situations. There are a couple teams that are throwing it out. So we actually had that scenario come up where they only had four guys with the ineligible number out on the field, and they got away with it the first week because they only ran it once, and we caught it on film and said, oh, "Okay, they got us on that one, but fool me twice, no shot. We're picking up on it." So now, Kennedy, how is it with you now communicating stuff into them? How much on the O to O are you utilizing, or are you more hand signals and nonverbal type communication?
Well, I'm in charge of the clock, so Steve will tell you even if one extra second comes off the clock, I'm on every time. You can have a second here, you can have 2 seconds here. So he puts me in charge of the clock, so I try to be as on top of that as possible. So I think you guys hear me pretty frequently, I feel like, especially with the clocks, and I'm giving the status too if we're on the snap or if we're on the ready. Steve has me doing that as well. So I think they hear me quite often. I also do use some hand signals. I'll go like this for the whine, or if we're on the snap, just in case, maybe he doesn't catch me over the O to O, he'll look back and see me. So even though I'm deep, I'm pretty active on the O to O, I have to say.
Okay. And how about you, Chris?
Uh, I think it depends on position for me, how much I'm using the O to O. So when I'm on the short wing, me and my other short wing, I feel like we talk a lot. Just reminding each other what's the line to gain. It's fourth down. It's a crucial down. Make sure we get to the spot. Make sure we crash when we need to. We had like a 2 minute drill last week where it was a lot of balls going out of bounds towards my direction. So just communicating, he was in bounds, he was out of bounds to the whole crew. So as far as clock status, things like that. When
Yep.
I'm deep, it's a little less. I'm in charge of the game clock, and so it's not as much communication needed for me. The one thing we talked about a lot was getting new balls in for if the passes went deep. So I try to be on top of that. Hey, I have a new ball, or I'm bringing in this ball. So just trying to communicate anything that we possibly can to each other. I feel like there's no limit to things that we can say. Any communication is good communication, I think, and we do a good job of that.
Chris, I want to piggyback off that really quick. For the coaches that are out there listening, please, please have good ball boys, have good ball people, because we're looking like Chris, you brought up a great point, and we just had a game this weekend. Deep pass to the far sideline. Let's get another ball rotated in. Let's get it going. And we're sitting there waiting and waiting, and the ball boy is nowhere to be found, and we find that he's 25 yards down the field playing catch with another injured kid, and we're like, guys, come on, be in the game here. So coaches, for the tempo of the game, and then you yell at us if all of a sudden you get hit with a delay of game penalty, get those ball boys, get them on top of it.
Yeah, I know earlier someone said that we're like a third team pretty much. So to me, when I'm on the short wing, I include the chains and like the ball boys in that. Pre-game talking to the chains and making sure that they're on the same page as us. Don't move if I don't give you a signal at the end of the first quarter, so I don't mess up the chains. Just stop and wait for my directions. And having the ball boys near, they're very important to the flow of the game.
Absolutely. Steve, I think I interrupted you before. What were you about to say?
Yeah, I was going to say one key thing that Chris didn't think to mention is that communication on first down, close to the sideline, letting me know for in or out of bounds. I think everybody's called those. I get into it. I don't get that information.
Yeah.
So I need to know if I'm shot. I did very well.
Yep.
Assignment, I guess you should say, but that's information that's critical in my role. And, even if I just look up and I see a little one of these or one of these, it doesn't have to be much. But, as much as we can. Chris said, you can't communicate too much. There are times where I will say, I don't need four people tell me the same thing, though, right? So I restarted a good habit of, hey guys, number 4 is the injured player, right? Everybody knows number 4 is a simple one play now. I don't need the entire crew back to me at that point, So, communication is great, but there's, such thing as too much communication, in my opinion. Um, and my big thing too is go get on their own line. That's going to distract people.
Yes.
Like you could ask Anthony, he and Zach was typically our headlines. They communicate over the penalty enforcement. Hey, we're going from the 35 to the 45. Surprising myself, that doesn't affect me as I'm making my announcements. I know some referees it would, but I like hearing it because I can confirm in my mind, okay, I know we're turning to the next spot here.
It's also probably helping you with pointing direction, because I'm sure as a head crew chief, you've probably pointed towards the defense when it was supposed to be towards the offense accidentally. And so hearing that, you've done that too before,
I did
Kennedy?
that last week, yeah.
That human element that we have, absolutely. So I know, and talking about the O stuff, my particular crew that we're with, we kind of echo the same sentiment that you all seem to have. We're not very verbal on the O if we don't need to be. Penalties, let's get on there, let's communicate it. But we've actually gotten to a really good rhythm. I like to fill in for other crews too. So if I got an off weekend or if there's an extra day, I'll tell my assigner, hey, throw me on another game, because I like to see how other crews are working different things too. And there's some crews where everybody's stepping on each other with the O, and this person's talking, that person's talking, and then the referee's like, I didn't hear one word that was said there. Well, everybody just shut up and just, okay, Kennedy, you had the flag. What do you have? And that's it. So I don't know how you guys are with that. If you have a set protocol with communicating in a flag, or if it's going to Anthony first, or if you're gathering together and discussing it, or if it's still over O.
I think it depends, kind of. Like, what did you say, Steve? It depends, and really?
Yeah, so to that point, I do say, like I said, Kennedy is the primary over home, so I don't want anybody else coming over with block status, right? I let Anthony and Zach look at who wants to communicate the enforcement over the radio. But they worked out. They're pretty sure you're the one that takes primary on that. The calling official, I requested, we're still working on this a little bit, but when you report it to me, I want everybody to open their mic, calling official, open their mic, this way the entire crew knows what we have, right?
Yep.
So those are kind of the standards I try to implement on the team. But beyond that, if you have something to say, you could say it. We probably communicate a bit more than most other pretty clock operators say that to us, and it keeps us sharp, I think. And that's another great point that for a clock operator, hey, can you put 2 seconds back on the clock? Because Kennedy's telling me when a millisecond comes off. Just confirm, Steve, I'll get that done. Just confirm that you've heard me. So that's another big thing that's simple. Just start it, Steve. Just give me a second. It goes a long, long way.
So now that brings up actually a great point too, because we have different clock operators each and every week, and for me it's kind of a bit of a pet peeve when I see them with just the handheld and they don't have a headset in, because now what we're talking about is being broadcast across the entire press box, and sometimes it doesn't need to be heard other than by us in the stripes. We had a flag last weekend. And a guy on our crew is also a college official, and he threw basically a halo rule on a punt. And we got together and we talked about it, and he's like, I screwed that one up. And we're like, all right, you won't halo it, and he's like, yep. He goes, all right, we're going to wave that one off. And we communicated it with the R, who was about 15 yards away at the time when we figured everything out. But now if our guy upstairs doesn't have it, now it makes us kind of look, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing. But it was a good communication on our end that we did it. But again, not broadcasting it to the whole world to hear. And who knows, they may be an open mic. Oh, we got a flag on the play. And now all of a sudden they're hearing our conversation coming across. So different things like that.
Yeah, we know about live mics out there, guys. So I was mic'd up for radio last year, and they control the audio. That's a mistake I won't make again. Um, so we were just chatting through a couple files. There was one or two situations where I should say I wasn't quite so happy with the crew about it. I didn't know about it. And that was all broadcast over to YouTube. So I just know if you're locked up where he has a radio, he should have an earpiece in. Or if you are being broadcast on the radio, make sure you have control over that switch, because you're 100% right. Like, there are conversations we have amongst these six of us on the field that other people don't need to know about.
Yep. And again, I'll go back to the third team on the field. There's conversations where I'm involved in a team that it's just us that need to know, and we need to get it ironed out ourselves, and then move on and get it correct. But the communication is still happening.
Yeah, like 100%. I could take you there. Just one more example of that last week. Uh, we had not so much of a surprise because they told us they were going to put an onside kick. And then we had to call Dale, but there were situations where she put it the wrong way. Right?
Push it the wrong way. With confidence.
Yeah. So
You sold it.
when I got up to her, she was rushing it. So part of being the critic was like, "Hey, take it right here. What did you see?" And then she calmed down. So I'm like, "Okay, good. Why'd you point that direction?" She goes, "Oh no," So that's part of something I learned as a crew chief too, is learning how to communicate with your crew and their mind is staying, just to settle them down. All right, okay, we get out here. Like you say, Chris did a great job. I'm selling a surprise outside earlier this year. So, they're very good at recognizing it, but I think we all get a little anxious when we have to report these things. So for the crew chiefs listening, learn your crew a little bit. See when they're in that state. I'm kind of guy. I see, I'll go for beer after him. Like, what, huh? And then it just snaps me like, okay, now what you think? So, kind of, learning folks you're working with, and that's another very effective communication method.
So now I know if I ever work with you guys, just pull a little Joe Montana. Hey, is that John Candy in the front row?
Yeah, exactly. Just like, I've been there myself. I've told people, especially early in the career, if I'm there and the headlights, settle me down. And then, okay, I can explain what I saw. We can get through it.
Yep.
Mike, I usually bring the jokes to the crew, Mike. That's usually me.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So you're the one snapping them out of it?
I'm usually the jokester.
So now,
I bring a joke and then both the other goes, come on, I'm trying to be serious here.
that's him playing a joke on you, Steve. So now I'm going to go back to the Stone Ages. The Odo is relatively new in the past 5-6 years here in New Jersey. So before that, it was all nonverbal communication. And I know there are the few chances that somebody may or may not have charged their headset over the weekend or to get it ready for the upcoming game. So what are you guys doing if there's no verbal communication going on, if there's no headsets, if there's technical difficulties, things like that? What kind of nonverbal cues are you giving each other?
Well, I know for me and Chris, when we're deep, you got to punch if you have the 11 on defense. For 12, we go like this. Without the O2O, I'll go like this. And then if we have 10, I'll just give them like a signal down here with my hands open, kind of like a sideline warning symbol. But like I'm just normally looking at Chris going, I have 10. So that's what I know me and him do deep when we're counting players and stuff of that nature.
Yeah, I know on the line. I mean, obviously we're punching for the guy in front of us, make sure he's back. I don't know if it's still proper mechanic, but I do double sticks, every time that I see it. Even the two back, like I'll do like a two kind of signal, just to let him know, there's two back on my side. And I mean, we had a game where my deep official, his mic went out. So pretty much, just running up to him every, few seconds, looking at him, making sure he's good. If there's anything he needed to communicate, I would relay that to everybody else. So even just something as simple as that.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned that you don't know if it's still the mechanic, but even just doing that subtly, the cross, I still do it too. I don't. I think it's still for the double sticks. I'm signaling it to both my wings that we had double sticks. They're signaling it down deep too, because the last thing we want to do is have somebody point first down, and it's they just got it's now 3rd and 9, so they just passed the first stick. But yeah, so when I'm a short wing, I'm giving the kids a chop. Okay, I got you on, and then I'll bring my hand down. But the hand punching back, that's still normal. But now in the middle, and Kennedy, you brought this up. For me and my R, I'll give them a kind of a two-handed slap on my chest that, hey, I only got 10 right now. So
Same for us,
that's
Mike.
our communication. That's what you guys do also?
Yep.
So yeah, and then it's just the punch up to the sky. That all right, we got 11 and 12. It's I'm grabbing my hanky and I'm throwing that thing up, killing it and counting. And okay, hey Al, we got 11. I messed that one up, waved that one off. But when in doubt, because I'd rather be wrong and have it waved off and swallow my pride than all of a sudden we have illegal participation and a 15-yard penalty because we were late on our count.
And for
So
us, so we punch kind of like out to the right for 11.
okay,
So Steve's got the advantage on me, because he's standing right behind the huddle, so he can count. He counts the 11 before me.
yep,
Then when I get out, it's good to see. We make eye contact. We kind of give a punch to the right if we got 11, and then we're good to go. Again, if we have 10, we pat our chest. 12, we flag. So we have the same. It's basically the same communication that you guys use.
yeah. And the reason I started going high with it instead of out to the side is because, like I said, I kind of move around, so I want to make sure that my head guy knows where I am. And I'm 6'3", so I do kind of stand out in the crowd back there. But with these high school kids, sometimes I'm the small person in the middle there. So I like to give it up a little bit higher for him. And our white hat sometimes, like you said, Steve, that not a deer in headlight, but you guys have to be so hyper vigilant on what you're focused on because, well, everything falls on your shoulders. So I'm making sure that I got him and that he sees me. So I'm putting it on my shoulders to make sure that, okay, he's got me. We're good.
I have like a question, I guess, almost. So today I said, I did a junior varsity game. I was the umpire. So I would count the defense every play and punch to the side. There was a play where the line judge threw a flag because the offense had 12, and he was basically telling me that it was my responsibility, and I just wasn't sure if that was accurate. But it's just kind of in line with what we're talking about. We have no O2Os in JV, so we didn't
Yep.
communicate it properly enough, and he was the one that had to make that call.
So my question back to you, because it's different. Each school that we have down here tends to be different. How many people did you have officiating the JV game today?
So we were four, two on the line, a referee, and then myself as the umpire.
Okay. Yeah, because half of our JV games are 4, the other half we're getting 3. So that's definitely changing up with the mechanic on
Yeah, it's
that.
the same up here. It's the same here.
Yeah. I mean, I love the 4-man mechanics, especially with the JV games. I think it should be necessary because those kids are a step away, an injury away, a pulled hammy away from being out on the varsity game. So their competitive juices are flowing, and some JV teams are going to go out and beat varsity teams. So having 3 people, it's putting us in a disadvantage, and also I think it puts the teams in a disadvantage too. So
Yeah, I'm also a proponent of 4 because it puts you closer to our 6-man mechanic, right?
yeah,
3, there's all the, if you only have 3, depends on the 3 that are out there, how you're going to operate, right? Everybody doesn't want to at least 4 have set mechanics be very similar to close to the 6-man mechanic. So, uh, honestly, Bruce, I can't answer your question. I haven't worked on 4 official game in a long time. So, but it's just, somebody's going to count something, right? At the higher levels, I know short wings are responsible for counting the offense as well. I don't know how you count for the sideline, but they're supposed to. So
yeah, and that was
they,
something. And in the old 5-man mechanics that I was working, I would always, in my head, I saw two people running off to the sidelines. I would just have I would have two fingers just dangling down on my side, knowing that, okay, two left the sideline. That means two got to be coming off the sideline. So I kind of just did those little nonchalant cues just to myself. So knowing that, hey, in a 5-man mechanic, I got to now work with just a back judge. I don't have a deep person doing those counts. So I'm going to help them out and give those counts too. So.
Yeah, for sure. And I just thought of something too. We were talking earlier about signal double sticks, right? And we're talking about this signal. I've centered into this signal because if you do this, what does this look like? Right? This looks like it's not the clock.
Yep.
Either make sure it's low, change it a little bit.
Oh, that's a good point. I like that. I like that. So just kind of your hand shuffling and simulating two sticks. So that's definitely a good one.
Yeah.
So now,
one signal too, just thinking of more. Like Anthony and I started relying on a bit more is the one, right? A lot of folks think that's let's fourth down, we're throwing the clock either way. That's not technically what the signal is for. The signal down is to say we're in scrunch kick formation, right? So
Yep.
we're giving that snap protection. We talked earlier about the dreaded muddle huddle, and especially when we have that, I won't signal the ball into the first until they shift into a traditional field goal formation. This way, Andy and I know, okay, we're in scrimmage kick formation now. We can have the number exception. So that's the other thing that it signifies, right? Is we can now have the numbering exception in play. So,
yep, and definitely that reminder too of it being a live ball as opposed to, okay, clock is we got a clock's not moving now, so we got to run and play here, or if a block happens, we're going with it. We're not killing it right away. So now, as a crew, talk me through how you guys work together when you're in that 2-minute situation, that hurry up offensive type of situation where it's late in the game or late in the half, especially late in the game in a really tight game, and the team is really, really hustling to get on there. Anthony, I know, and this is one thing my white hat always reminds me, it's my job to control the tempo of the game as the umpire and making sure that everybody else is where they're supposed to be. How are you guys as a crew working that to make sure that, hey, we're good, we're set, we're all there? So different things like that.
So basically, when we go 2-minute, we have to pick it up a little bit too. I'm not saying that we have to go into full, sprint mode, but if the teams are getting ready in 2 minutes because they're driving down, whether or not they need a field goal or a touchdown, and you're under a minute and a half, you can't be strolling there to get the ball, take your time setting it because they're ready to go. So I just have one message for them: look for my hand. I raise my hand up after every play. They know where to throw the ball. I catch it, I spot it, and we go.
Yep.
So for me, as the umpire, all I do, Mike, to be honest with you, is I just pick up my pace. That's it. Everybody else can stay at their pace and just get me the ball, and no matter what you have to do, launch it, and I get it and set it.
I think Steve does a good job of keeping us focused too. A few weeks ago, we had a game in under 2 minutes. It was super close, and the team that was down was driving down the field and everything like that. But Steve really does a good job of getting on the O2O and just telling everybody, hey, just relax, finish strong, and let's just ref some football. I think sometimes a lot of us, especially me, I'm a newer official too, which I psych myself out. Sometimes I get in my head. I'm always nervous. You can ask Steve. I'm always nervous. He'll say I'm the most nervous official ever. But you just have to remind yourself, like, just slow down. It's just some football. Just go out there and ref your football and do your thing.
Yeah, I feel. Go ahead.
Okay, Chris.
No, I was gonna say. So last year we were a full 6-man crew, and this year before the season, one of the guys bowed out. So we've been having a rotation of people come in and fill in the spot. And we had a few games where they're in a 2-minute drill. The offense is trying to score; they want to get out of bounds. And we had one where the line judge he kept him in bounds when you give them that out of bounds. So we talked about that a lot. Pretty much know what teams are trying to do. know that the offense is trying to score. They're trying to get out of bounds. They're trying to save that time. So just have like, game awareness as well in that moment. So, you can officiate properly. And, just communicating, like we always talk about timeouts, make sure we know exactly how many timeouts both teams have. Like I said, know if it's on the snap, if it's on the ready, if he's inbounds, out of bounds. So, communicating before anything major happens, so we're prepared for it.
Okay, good stuff. Steve?
Oh, yeah, so I think my main job as a referee, like you said, I basically watch the basketball game, right? I'm not doing a lot out there. I have all eyes on me when I'm giving signals and everybody else is working, right? So my main job outside of that is to kind of control the crew and help them out the best I can. And, Billy does a nice job. Hey, Steve, we're under two. And then I'll try to make the guys know what that means. No, we have clock options here. If we're in that 2-minute scenario, the group does a nice job. Hey, Steve, potential on-site kick here. Do you want us to go up? So they remind me of that, and we, okay, yes, let's go up. But I think the one thing that Ken was alluding to that I bring to the crew in that scenario is under 2 minutes, we have a first time out of bounds. I'll pop up on the wall and say, "Hey, guys, take a breath. Clock, stop here. Collect yourself. We're going to go slow. Before we let you drive. Hey, guys, no, let's timeouts. Okay, they're going to want to go fast here. Just trying to hit everybody's head a little bit. Like, all right, know the situation. And then, all right, we can take a breath. We're doing well. Let's finish strong, like Andy said. So I think that's probably the main benefit I could have to the crew in those situations. Especially, you know, Andy said this is year 3 for them, Chris. I believe it's year 4 for you, correct?
Three.
Okay. It's year 15 for me, so I've been through it more than they have, so I can rely on my experience a little bit more and try to help them out.
So one thing that's really ingrained with me in the last couple of years of being with the crew that I'm with now is our white hat, and it's part of his pregame speech to us, just like your email. But he always reminds us: hustle, don't rush. Hustle, don't rush. Get to your spots. Let it sink in. It's not a rush, but we want to get there and do our jobs. But let's make sure that we're still processing everything correctly, because in the heat of the moment, we do tend to get overexcited too, especially you get a tight game, a good game like that, and the kids are running around. It's something that I definitely get into, especially being the umpire in the middle of the field, of trying to make sure we get the ball spotted, get it going. But again, I got to look to make sure chains are set, deep people are back where they're supposed to be, got another ball coming in or whatever it may be, different things like that. So yeah, that's good stuff right there.
I
Go ahead.
Sorry. No, I was gonna say I feel like I also mentioned that, like you said, the chains are set. So whenever we go about to go 2 minutes and I have the change, I just let them know, hey, we might need to pick up the pace a little bit as well. Just have them ready to move. Like you said, hustle, but don't be too fast. But we do need to move.
Yep. Yeah, especially don't want those chains going too fast on us, and all of a sudden realizing that we had a yellow hanky down on the ground and now they're already gone. So that could be a bit of a pain. So now with that, and so staying with the chains, I know one thing that we emphasize, especially with the chains, and you get a mixed bag of people that are holding the chains for us. Some of them are dads that work for the school, or they're teachers in the building that are working. Freshman and JV level, goodness, you're lucky if you got 3 human beings that are holding the chains for you. But the big thing that we always talk about is let's make sure that the most competent one is on the box. So if that box person can run down there and get the box set, we could set the chains off of that box. So in that 2-minute drill, we do want to get the chain set. But if we get the box set, he's at least got or he or she's at least got that line of scrimmage for us, so we at least know where we're going to go back to. So if the chains are just a little bit delayed, we're okay with that. So what are your thoughts with that one, Steve? I don't know how you guys run it.
And you could ask a lot of people. I'm probably one of the faster tempo referees.
Okay.
Anthony gets the ball in his hands, I'm winding, we're going. So, I do work short wing a bit as well. And part of my, pregame routine is to have a nice conference with the chamber, right? I'll talk to them about where to set up, and move, what it's for, et cetera, et cetera. And one thing I asked them is like, listen, you're an extension of the crew, you're part of us today. And I always say thank you for your help. Let them know you appreciate them being there, because without them we can't have a football game, right? But I do ask and say, listen, if we do have a very low game, just make it to a job for me. I was like, I don't need anybody sprinting, you know, but just you. And then especially like if you had that baseball player there that you could tell he doesn't want to do that, right? Or that JV kid that just wants to go hang out with his girlfriend or something like that. I always saw this and it was like, listen, help us with the pace of play. Get out of here a little faster. I try to talk on that level, get on the same page. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Um, and one thing I try to remember is to please show up after halftime.
Please come back.
Sometimes they don't show up after halftime.
Definitely at those sub-varsity levels, absolutely.
Yeah.
So Chris, we got in our chat here. Mike from Ohio says, not sure where you're from, but here in Ohio, 4-man mechanics, the U is responsible for the defensive count. Think it makes the most sense. So we got thank you, Mike, for chiming in on that. Appreciate that. So yeah, we do have a lot of four-man mechanic games here, but most of ours again are 3-man mechanics, so it does make a difference, and sometimes you kind of lose track of that. And we all know that that's where we're going to find the craziest stuff when we're working those lower levels. The trick plays and the coaches drawing the stuff up in the dirt, saying, "All right, let's try this play and see if we can get away with it."
Yeah, I like to say the popcorn athletes are reasonable.
Absolutely. So last topic I'd love to dive in with you guys all. Post game. We're communicating. You talked about your pregame conference and your pregame emails, and now communicating during the game. What do you do together as a crew post game, and how do you evaluate yourselves or different things like that? What tips possibly do you have?
So when I don't see the bus cloud of Chris getting out before I even sit down,
I knew that was coming.
we got a couple of folks who like to rush out after a game. But one thing I like to do is after the game, I'll give my little assessment. All right, guys, this is what I noticed we need to work on. Yada yada. How does everybody feel? Anybody have anything we want to talk about? And typically, things that I say we need to improve on will be in next week's pregame, right? It'll carry over because we're going to talk about it. That's a little bit of what goes on in the locker room. And then once we get our huddle film, we all watch our huddle film. I have a spreadsheet for the season, and game by game, I try to go watch every play as much as I can of every game. Sometimes it's not feasible, but I'll get notes. And okay, on this play, a little trouble early in the season of him moving around the line. Granted, he had some good offensive lines pushing players into his lap. But we talked about, all right, getting settled in, game by game, we've seen improvement now based on those evaluations we do. Self-scouting, things like that. So it carries over from, we get off the field, we get back into the locker room, with 5-10 minute chat, and then the game evaluation comes in. We have a number of text messages. Next week, not last week, 2 weeks ago, we got a pretty unusual play where we had OPI and DPI on the same action. And talk about communication. Mike, it was very unusual. So I walk up to Zach and Kennedy because I see they both had flags. Zach goes, I got OPI, Kennedy. I got DPI. I'm like, what am I doing here? Right? They were both very confident. And we decided on we're going to offset it. And sure enough, when we looked at the film, it was clearly there both ways. And I was like, this is crazy. Chatting about situations like that and reaching out to our mentors and folks that have done this a little longer. Hey, how would you handle this situation? So I know I've talked a lot about post game, but that's also some things I work into my routine in between games.
That's great stuff. And yeah, I'm my 20 years of coaching background got me addicted to huddle. So I'm a film junkie still right now. Anthony, how about you? What are some things you do post game valuation wise?
It's the same exact thing. Usually, we all come dressed professionally. We have a professional standard when we walk in, so we don't come in uniform. So we all get there early. We get our uniforms on, and on the way back, we change and we go, khakis and polo shirt. That's how the majority of us leave. So there's a 10-15 minute time frame that we have to sit back and get dressed. So there's a constant conversation. If you think you might have missed something on a play or something happened that might not have been your call, that you didn't understand the way something was called, we throw on each other. Or somebody's mad because of something they think they might have screwed up. We talk each other through it, and then at night, usually if we can't sleep, or I work early Sunday mornings, so I usually am the first one to watch the film. And it goes back to the way we do for preparation and communication. We are constantly all week throwing stuff around on it. We have a group text message or a group chat or whatever you want to call it, and we're constantly throwing stuff to Steve or to each other about, a play that we had, a play that we saw, and we get 6 different, thoughts on it, and then it usually comes up in a pre-game or a post-game conversation the following week.
Good
So
stuff.
what I'm saying is we don't officiate on Friday, and then next week we have a game on Thursday. We don't get back together into it on Thursday. We had our game on Friday. We huddled on Saturday. Our pregame comes out today. We'll joke around all week, and then Thursday, we show up and we start our pregame, and we're back at it.
Good stuff. Kennedy, anything you'd like to add?
I would just say really the same thing. After every game, we go in the locker room together. We all talk it out. What did you see? What did you have here? Sometimes you have to talk somebody off the ledge because they're a little upset over a call they made. But you just got to kind of move on to the next week. I know with the OPI and DPI play we had, I couldn't wait for that film to come out. And I the second it came out, I went and I found that play and I texted Zach. I was like, play, I think it was 155. I was like, 155 that's our play. Go look at it. I said, I think we got it right. I think we talked about that play for like a week and a half. If it was OPI, if it was DPI, what all of our referee colleagues were thinking of it at that time. But just really, I think most importantly, I love watching the huddle. I love going on and watching the film. I think that's where I get a lot of pointers and knowledge, and I can better myself. So I really do like to tune in and get the huddle from the game day. I'm a little upset from our past game this week. The first quarter is only like 13 plays, and I wanted to see a few things on it, but I can't watch it because we don't have those plays. But that's just how it goes. But I think it's really important. Like Anthony said, we don't just show up on Friday and throw our clothes on and ref. And that's something my mom's pointed out to me. She's like, I never thought that this much goes into reffing. She's like, you just kind of think you go out there and ref the game. I said, no, we have our meetings. We have our great emails that Steve gives us, our pre-games, we go to clinics. So it's more than just showing up on Friday night and throwing the stripes on. There's a lot that goes into it.
Absolutely. And Chris?
In my defense, I do always ask 100%, like, hey, what do you have for us, in the post game? I don't just leave that quickly. But no, honestly, like Steve said, the post game in the locker room, it is usually a quicker thing, just where we talk about some big plays, big moments. We do learn there too. I'll ask, hey, did I do this right? Or what do you think about that? But like he said, it's all about what happens after the game. Reviewing the film. The game evaluations are, it's the little things that you don't even think about that they're observing you for, It's not always the flag that you throw or don't throw. It's very small things, mechanical things, just how, you are presenting yourself out there as well. So, we carry that throughout the week, and it's never just, hey, this game is over and that's that. So like I said, this is my third season. In my first year, the crew was very, we're here, we're gonna get paid, we're gonna do the game, we're gonna go home, so it was kind of a culture shock to me to see how much, he cares, and it's spread through us. And like I find myself doing homework and watching film and doing all these things, like Kennedy said, it is a lot of work, and it feels worth it when you go out there and after the game I say, hey guys, like I feel like I had a great game, and it makes you proud to do that. I feel like I learn every week something new, and that's all part of the system, essentially.
That's great stuff. I love to hear that everybody's diving into huddle. And if I can make one request again to the coaches that are out there, if you have an end zone camera, please submit that in too, because I could say for Steve and Anthony, for myself as an umpire, that's our best angle because that's what we're looking at. And if you are a school that has drone footage, that is one of the best things for us mechanically to see, to make sure we're in the right position for all 6 of us on the field. I've had a couple of schools send me some great drone footage, and it shows everything. It's that eye in the sky. And we've gone back and as a crew, we've talked about it with one of our deep wings. Hey, you were a little bit too deep on this particular play, where the normal sideline camera is not picking that up because sometimes they're just getting maybe a 15-yard depth from side to side. So, I mean, there's some sideline cameras where, Steve, you wouldn't even be in the picture as the head referee. You're so far back. For safety reasons, and rightfully so, but just that's how sometimes it's really tight with those camera angles. But yeah, any camera angle, coaches, that you could submit to your local association for review to huddle, it's being watched by us. You could take our word for it. It is being watched. We are trying to get better on it, and we're trying to improve the game for you as coaches, for the kids as players. It's helping us out as much as it's helping you guys out too. And no, we are not going out and sharing your film with everybody. No offense, they probably already have it too. So, but my last request that I have is, Steve, if you get an opportunity, if you could send me that OPI DPI clip, I would love to see that. You could send it. I've got a Huddle account that's called Whistle Talk that my association let me become a JV team with. So I've got my own Huddle account for that. I would love to take a look at that clip, and if it's okay, share it out with people about and go over that on one of my future episodes.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. I don't know if I could share it with Huddle, but I clipped it outside of Huddle. I think, like I said, can be exact. Myself, we were sending it around, and probably 3 or 4 different opinions on approach to that play. So, um, the one thing that was very satisfying to me is I work very close to Jim Kapora. I think everybody knows, most of our audience probably know who Jim Kapora is. Very respected in this area. He said we did the right thing, so that was very satisfying there. But absolutely, I could get that played in. And yeah, before we wrap up, you kind of mentioned it right, and I feel like we did a deep dive into this. Officials on this call, coaches would really appreciate it if you just talk to them, right? Coach, this is what I saw. They may not like it. They may not like your opinion. But I promise you, if you're communicating with them, they will at least respect the fact that you're communicating with them. You maybe even calm down a little bit. If they're screaming for a whole park, that's not all. Wherever you see a hold, okay? And now just click here. Coach, I saw the same thing. And for the X, Y, Z reason, I did not think it was a hold. Those little things I've learned over the years go a long, long way in helping keeping coaches at least calm and respecting what we do. And I can't emphasize that enough. And for me, the confidence in helping the coaches just came over time, and me learning, and you'll continue to learn and be confident in my ability in what I saw. So for the new officials out there, please Don't be intimidated by it. Just keep working on it. And I'm telling you, game management that was a long way.
I
Can I
couldn't
add
agree
on
with you
to
more on
that?
that.
Can I
Go.
add on to that really quick? So, last week the team was doing onside kicks like almost every time. So, I called an offsides on the kicking team, and the coach was screaming at me. I was getting, "This is BS, F this, F that," and I told him they broke the plane. It's a plane. They crossed it. Then he asked me, "Well, who crossed it?" I said, "Coach, like the whole team crossed it." And so then I'm getting again the BS's and this and that and the third. And they must have had a tablet up top and watched it. And he actually came back over to me a few plays after and he said, I made the right call. And I said, "Thank you, coach." So
Yeah,
just
that
talk
is
to him.
definitely gratifying. Yep, 100%.
Mike, can I piggyback on what they said too?
Yep.
Well, for me and you, it's a little different because when me and you are the you, we don't have to deal with coaches. It's probably one of the reasons why I became the you. So we have to have the same rapport that they have with the coaches. We have to have with the young men because we control what goes on in the middle. So as these guys know, I don't want to say yelling and screaming in a negative way, but there's no doubt that anybody hears me. You
Yeah.
will hear me. I'm on every single play. Get out of there. Use the ground. That's it. We're over. Let's move. And I think that we as umpires have to do that because there's been games where it could get out of control
Yes.
with these kids. And we are basically the police in the inside. We're the cops in the middle of the field. So, for these umpires that are out there, be able to go up to a kid and from stand behind him and just talk to him a little bit. And
Mm-hmm.
you'll never know if these guys will really they'll listen to you.
No, I just had a situation this weekend. We had a first-year cadet work his first varsity game with us as a replacement, and I don't know about you, Ant, but when that ball gets snapped, I spit the whistle out of my mouth. I don't have the whistle in my mouth because I'm not making an inadvertent whistle, and it was his first varsity game working on the sideline, working as a short wing, and play was over. I put my hand up to signal, like, hey, I got him down, but I'm not blowing the whistle because I'm going to wait if you got something different, progress or anything like that. And he was really late on the whistle, and he's like, "Oh, Mike, I thought you were going to have that whistle," and just had to explain to him. I'm like, "No, this is how I operate, and you being a newer person today for our crew." I said, "Understandable, but just make sure you sell it."
And for me,
Chris,
pre-snap, I mean, Steve loves the finger whistles on the umpire, but I use a lanyard, and I hold the whistle in my left hand, and the only time I plan on blowing is if I got, a bad snap on the center or one of my keys moves early. That's the
Yep.
only time I'm blowing my whistle. And then as soon as the play, I drop it out of my hand, and I have both my hands for my flag or my beanbag.
And Steve, I gotta have Anthony's back on this one. It's tougher to catch the ball coming into place when you got a finger whistle on and your fingers are locked together. So it gives us a better chance of catching the ball because, no offense, there are some side wings out there that thing comes in like a duck. So we need
That's
two
me.
good hands. You're guilty?
Well, I told Steve, I was like, next time you have a female in the class, you just have to have a class about how to underhand throw the ball in. I think part of the issue is my hand is so small compared to the ball, but that's like another running joke on the crew that I just can't throw the ball.
Gotta make sure you blow your whistle before you.
Yes, the whistle. I couldn't blow the whistle at first. As crazy as that sounds, I could not blow the whistle at first. One thing at a
Like
time.
if Kennedy's getting the ball, it's a handoff.
I run all the way in. I'm like at the hashes. I'm like, here.
Good stuff.
To be clear, I hate the finger whistle. I'm trying to coach Mr. Moreno here to not use it. So not just that, breaking chops there.
I agree with both of them though, because today I umped with the finger whistle and it was really annoying. And they told me, they said, "Stop blowing your whistle. You're not supposed to use it at all as the umpire." I'm like, I didn't know that.
Yep. We got pre-snap, and after that, it's up to the sides for forward progress and to get the spot. So that's where me being a big loud Italian, I'm using my voice and I'm refereeing, I'm officiating with my voice as opposed to a whistle. So, well, at this point, ladies and gents, I want to thank you once again for coming on the show. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time out of your week. If there's anything that I can do to help you guys out, please, by all means, reach out to me. You have my email address, and for the folks out there can reach out, and I can reach out to the group I had here. Go to MikeDThereferee@gmail.com, and I'll be able to put you in touch or find out an answer if you've got a question for the crew that I have here. Ladies and gentlemen out there, please make sure you go to those YouTube channels, Spotify, hit those like, subscribe buttons, and different things like that. We're just trying to get the word out about what we do and how we are the third team trying to continue to get this game to be greater and greater each and every day. Once again, Steve, Chris, Anthony, Kennedy, thank you very much for coming on tonight. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thanks for
Anytime,
having
Thanks
us.
for having us, Mike. It was fun.
Go Yanks.
Yes, go Yankees. I may have just lost half of my audience right now.
Go Mets. We got both of us in here. Go Mets.
Now I definitely lost my audience. Thanks. All right. Thank you once again, everybody. Have a great night and have a great rest of your season.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank
you as
you.
well.
Sorry.